Hello, welcome to our tutorial for running reports in the Time and Attendance app of your integrated software. From the dashboard, we're going to select the Time menu. And from here, we're able to select or hold our mouse over reports to be able to select the different reports that we want to look at. I'm going to click on the default timesheet. And we're presented with the different options on running this report. Now we can choose a pay period list or a date range. Because we're able to have more than one pay period set up in a company, you may see different ones. We've got a default pay period, which is weekly, the 19th to the 25th. We've got a split pay period from the 17th to the 12th, or to the 1st of December. Sometimes you may have an hourly pay period and a salary pay period. You may have a pay period for one division and a pay period for another division to keep things separate. So when I select a pay period, I'm only asking for the employees assigned to this specific pay period. If I needed both, I can select both pay periods. I can use a date range also. In utilizing a date range, it's going to return all employees that have time in the requested from and to dates. If I have supervisors set up on the system, when I select a supervisor, only the employees for this supervisor are going to come in for my report. Same thing with my employees. If I have nothing selected, all the employees assigned to this supervisor are going to come into the report. Maybe I want to choose just a pay type. Maybe I want to see sick time only for every employee assigned to this supervisor. Same with my location. Same with my department. I can group the employees by their department, their job, their project, or their location. Down below, I've got the different options here for how I want the report or what information I might want to see on the report. Normally, page break by employee. I want to show missed punches. I want to show their PTO totals. I want to show any unpaid time. I might want to show dollar amounts. I might want to see items that have no hours attached to it. I may want to show notes that were entered into their transactions. The employee verify approve. If I select this, it's going to put a signature line on my report for the employee or the employee and the supervisor, depending on the report. With this particular report, the default timesheet, it will also add an attestation block that is customizable by each company. Something along the lines like, I confirm that the hours worked in this time period are true to the best of my belief. I received my meal breaks and I had no injuries that were not reported to my supervisor type thing. Now, I may not want to come in and select these things every single time I run a report. So I've got the option to save this report with the options I've selected by giving it a name and selecting save. Once I've done that, I can run my report, print it, save it to my desktop, whatever I need to do there. When I come over here and select another area of the app, that's going to force a refresh. And then in my reports, over to the right, or it may come back over to the left depending on your browser size and the screen and how you have it set up. I can see under Customize the ones I've already made. I can select Time Card, and we can see all the different items that I've selected. If I don't want to show any unpaid for this particular report run, then I can just go ahead and uncheck it at this time. I'm then able to select the pay period that I want. I can group it by department, and then I click Regenerate. Not specified department, in other words, I have employees that were not assigned to a department. This is the cover page. This is the first employee, and we can see the attestation block right here and the signature line. Sales department. And I'm clicking on the arrow up here in order to advance one page at a time. If I want to go to the end of the report, I can click on this, and this takes me to the last page of my report. If I want to save this, I can click here and choose Acrobat PDF and click on the export. This will either save directly to perhaps your downloads folder or whichever folder that has been selected in your browser to save to, or it may pop up and ask you where to save the file, depending on how you set your browser up. You can print this report by clicking on this button, and this will allow it to print from the browser. We can also export the report to Excel, but we can also choose different options, or we can export to a CSV file. Once we click Export, again, it will save to the default that is set up on our browser. Under Administrative, if you have access to this, is the ability to audit transactions, exceptions, and things like that. I can select this. These reports are a little bit different. You can put in a pay period list, but normally you may want to put in a date range if you're interested in seeing if a supervisor edited, added, deleted, or anything from a specific employee's time card on a specific from and to dates. You can select the employee you're interested in here. The operation from. Now, this is different from the to and from dates. Maybe I'm interested from the 4th of November to the 6th of November. I'm looking for punches that were modified by a supervisor during these dates. But the operation from and to are going to be the dates that the supervisor could have potentially come in and modified these. So we can narrow those down. If we knew the supervisor worked for 3 days, we can put those in. Or if we really don't know, we can come back here and choose, say, the 1st of the month, and then to today, and see if a supervisor modified Alice's time card for any of these days from the 1st to the 23rd. You can select different options here if they inserted one, updated one, or deleted. I usually leave it blank so I can see all of them. Same with the punch type. I leave it blank so that I can see any and all entries that might have been inserted, updated, or deleted. Then I select Regenerate Report. And of course, I don't have any that were modified by a supervisor on this, but that's how you would work that report. Here we can run the California 5-hour lunch report. And this report is designed to let you know if someone worked 5 hours or more in an 8-hour day or longer without taking a lunch before the 5 hours elapsed. We'll select a date range here because I don't know which days I may have given somebody lunches. Again, like the other reports, you can choose a supervisor and see only the employees attached to that supervisor, or you can just click multiple employees or single employee, or leave it blank for everyone. I'm going to go ahead and click regenerate. And here I've got a lot of people that are showing up on here because I don't really give the lunches in there, so it's returning on everybody. What we're looking at here, though, is there's no boxes that are checked. Immediately this tells me the employee did not take lunch. And the reason they're on this report is because they didn't take lunch and they worked more than 6 hours. So in this case, this person worked for 11 hours with no lunch. And the same for all the rest of these. Perhaps I would have some that have a check mark in lunch. And maybe the work time before lunch might be 5.5 hours. And over here it will list their number of minutes that they did take for lunch. But maybe they have a check mark for lunch, check mark for short lunch. They took their lunch before 5 hours, but maybe they only took 29 minutes. So that would be the reason they would be on this report also. So at a glance, you're able to see if anybody's violating that 5-hour lunch. So I've added a lunch deficiency in on the back side. I'm going to run this report again using this current pay period, regenerate. And here's an example where someone took a lunch. It was a short lunch. They took the lunch after 3 hours of work, so they're fine with the before 5 hours rule, but they only took 29 minutes lunch, so they still qualify as breaking the 30-minute 5-hour lunch rule. The system also has automated reports. And to set those up, we would select Add New Configuration Record. We would choose the particular report we needed. Approaching overtime is popular. We would select the recipient of this report. We can add a subject. Select our email cycle. Normally for this report it would be weekly. And if we work Sunday through Saturday, I may run this report on a Thursday, and maybe I want to see it again on a Friday if we've got employees that work, the second shift or third shift, just so I know what's going on. But certainly you could run every day of the week if you wanted to. We want this on the previous day so that when we get the report, we're seeing all of the overtime from the previous day. In other words, in an instance like this, I'm assuming that the employees only work maybe 8 to 5. And if I were to run it for today, nobody's going to be clocked out. I want to choose how many hours in regular time before it sends the report. So I may want to see anybody over 32 hours for either of these days. I can select a runtime start. Well, I need to, not that I can. And normally I'm going to do this, I don't know, maybe 9 a.m., 10 a.m. I don't want to do it at 2 in the morning, although you can. Normally I'm going to run this when the supervisor's at work, so it pops into his email as they're working during the day. If you run this at 3 in the morning, the supervisor comes in, they've got a list of emails already, they may miss this report, and it could be crucial for them. But it's really up to you to decide when to start and end, or if you are the supervisor creating this, when you want your report to come to you. By typing 9, that assumes 9 a.m. I could also click on the checkbox or the clock right here and select 9 a.m. And I don't want to receive any report after 4 p.m. That's the time I go home. I don't want to be bothered after that. I can select once a day or have this print every hour, and if somebody's time goes over that 32-hour mark, then I will receive a report. It's not going to send me the same report every hour that I got the last hour. So it's just checking to see if anybody matches, anybody new has met the 32 hours worked before it's going to email me another report. I can go ahead and click Save, and that adds this in. At any time I could come back and edit and choose different supervisors, administrators if I want, or I can create another one for a different supervisor with the same options so that each supervisor gets a list of only their employees. This completes our training on the reports section of your time and attendance. Thank you for watching.